Okay, Jerome, we are good to go. So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I cannot quite hear from admin's side.
Yeah, we
Hello?
are already from this side. So whenever you're ready, you can start your moderation.
Okay, I think we can start. I see now that we're live. Good afternoon, everyone in Dubai, and good evening from here in Tokyo, Japan. Welcome to this side event of the Thai Pavilion entitled Knowledge to Action: Imperatives for Climate Change Education. This side event is organized by the United Nations University for the Advanced Study of Sustainability, or UNUIAS. I am Jerome from the Innovation and Education Program of UNUIAS, and I will be moderating today's conversation. So today's conversation will focus on climate change education in shaping the youth to be competent and committed to climate action. This side event will also bring the best practices of climate change and the best practices of climate change education to the fore, drawing from the personal experiences of educators and students alike. Our conversation will start with asking key questions to our panelists, followed by a moderated Q&A. Our conversation today will be guided by three key questions. First, we will start with the fundamental question: why is climate change education important to teach young people? Second, we will concentrate on the processes of how climate change, or how can knowledge of climate change be translated into action for climate change. And lastly, we will discuss specific activities to answer the question: what components of climate change education in various learning settings can instill relevant skills and facilitate pro-environmental behavior among learners? So before we begin the panel discussion, I would like to introduce everybody to a tool that we will be using throughout our session for today. in order to engage with the audience. So the audience members can participate in our conversations by scanning the QR code showed on your screen through your smartphones. Another way of joining is by going to menti.com, type in the code that you see on the screen, 59011615, and submit to us your responses. We are also live on Facebook, and for our online audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask by writing your questions in the comment box on the Facebook live stream. Your questions will be addressed during the moderated Q&A at the end of the session, and we will get back to these tools very shortly. But for now, I have the pleasure to introduce to you the members of our panel. So first, our panel member is Buntawi Bunhai, School Director of the Eco School Ban Wahin Demonstration School in Wahin, Thailand.
Good afternoon.
Wahin Demonstration School aims to instill the value of the environment among its over 1,200 students and 100 educators through the concept of a whole school approach. We can learn more about the whole school approach as we talk with Mr. Buntawi Bunhai. So, Mr. Buntawi, welcome. Next one, we have Kitsia Oribe Aguilar, a master's student from the United Nations University Institute for the Advanced Study of Sustainability. She specializes in the Paris Agreement. Kitsia actually co-founded a civil society group for youth in her home country in Mexico. She has also worked under the federal ministries of Mexico in the energy and climate change sectors. So she comes from a very unique perspective of being a youth, but also having worked with the government as well. Lastly, we have Lee Ken Boon, excellent principal of SM St. Patrick or St. Patrick Secondary School in Tawau in Malaysia. Ken has led the implementation of the 5 Greens program at SM St. Patrick. And over the years, with the school's environmental initiatives, SM St. Patrick has garnered awards such as the Simyo Japan ESD International Award and the ASEAN Eco School Award. So panelists, thank you all for joining us for today. So without further ado, let's start our conversation with the first key question. To reflect on this question together, I would like to invite everyone joining this session, both attending in person and those attending online, to grab your smartphones and scan the QR code on the screen and share your views on the question. Again, you can also go to menti.com, use the code, and type in your answers. I'll now launch the first question. Why is climate change education important to teach to young people? So I'm actually going to participate here as well, and I'm going to grab my smartphone. And for those of you who are, again, for all the audience members, please type in your answers.
For me first, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Buntui Bunhai. I am the principal of Ban Hu Hin Demonstration School from Hu Hin, Thailand. Okay, the great question for this session: why is the climate change education important to teach a young people? So for me, it is very important for the young people right now. It's the new generation, especially the new generation in Thailand. Hu Hin is the land of the oldest beach resort in Thailand. It is a famous resort and it is a famous city in Thailand too. And Hu Hin, what? Hu Hin, it is located along the Thai Gulf. And the Hu Hin resident, including our parents, our student parents, that they derive the income from the tourism industry. It is especially for them that they work on the hotel, resort, and the souvenir shop, and another like a rental car like that. So Into the future, maybe our student will continue to work in the tourism industry too. And if it has the climate exchange in the future, and they don't know how to save the environment, and then it has the climate exchange, especially like the big storm. Maybe that our city is along the Thai Gulf, and we have the big storm or the climate change to be all the rainy season. So it had the effects to their job. So it means that they cannot earn income, and so our students they don't have maybe that they don't cannot earn, to earn the income from the tourism industry. And we are the teacher and we are the educator. How we do that? The climate exchange curriculum is the best for us for the next question. Yes.
Thank you. To continue with the discussion, the why question is always like the most existential one. And I think that one of the basic things about climate change is that it's talking also about the great disparities that it has been like historically. And by this I mean that it's just fair that the people who inhabit this planet has the right to know and has the right to learn about what is going on. The realities of the young people and of the people in general that inhabits this world, it's being shaped greatly by the climate change and about the impacts they are having, even when they are not acknowledging and even when they don't have the information to call it this way. They know that something is being happening to them, and they know that it's endangering their social and their economic way of lives. So I think that it's also a matter of intergenerational justice, that they have this right to education and this right to learn what's happening, what are the components of this education, what's the compounds and how it's affecting them or how it's going to be affecting them in the future. So besides the fact that it's their right, I think it's also one way for them to understand better how it's the world is connected, and to have like a better understanding of how they can be linked locally to these actions, but also how their actions in the future and even now when there are children are going to be impacting globally. And I think this is something that it's been working a lot in education, getting this sense of like global citizenship, but at the same time acting local. So I think that that's like the main reason why it's really important, and also to encourage them to do something about it, to know that they have a role key in this matter, and their voice matters, and not only their voice but their actions, and they can do something about it not only when they are going to be adults, but also they can already start preparing and already start engaging in this kind of actions, not only about climate but environment, social, and so many aspects that it's shaping the way that they live.
Thank you, Kitia. I think we're getting the hang of this Zoom call from us. I think Mr. Buntawi and Kitia has responded. This now leads to our third speaker, Lee Ken Boon. Having worked with students in the implementation of the 5 Greens program at SM St. Patrick, why do you think climate change is important to teach to young people? Ken?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jerome. Hi, everyone. I'm a principal of a secondary school in the city of Tawau, Malaysia. As a leader in the school, I look at our students as a very important asset to us. Young people, like our students in school, should be equipped with this climate change education while they are still in the school from a very early age. We can equip them with the proper climate change knowledge, skills, attitude, values, behaviors, and more importantly, connected waste management practices in their daily life, and also the entire school communities around them. So with these climate change educations, They are able to address the climate issues as they are our future leaders to be involved in the field, in various fields of employment. They will be integrated in decision-making process, both in the private and the government sector when they had this climate change education knowledge in their mind, in their mindset. I'm sure this action will affect their well-being and empower them to make a wise decision for a sustainable future, as involving in advocating for the government policies that address the environmental challenges. Climate change education also acts as a very powerful tool to raise the awareness about the environmental issues around them, fostering them with a sense of responsibility for the environment around us. So this will also help the young people understand the consequences of human activities on ecosystem, biodiversity, and also our planet. So therefore, by integrating the climate change educations in the school, we will prepare the young people, especially our students, to have a comprehensive understanding of the climate change issue so that they can be developed to be a responsible citizen who can actively contribute to addressing the challenges posed by the climate change in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you to our three panelists. I think we're getting the hang of these hybrid session. But just to synthesize what everybody has said, it's the reason why climate change is important to teach to young people. It's because it's their right to really know what climate change is. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who will be affected, and they are the ones who will be solving in the future this burden that we have given them throughout the years. Also, just to piggyback on what Ken has mentioned, the young people are the asset, not just to our schools, but to our community and also to the whole country and to the world. And just kind of looking at the answers from our audience members, I think I see a lot of community resilience, future leaders, and empowerment. And this really just flagging on what Lee mentioned at the end as well is that we want to instill a sense of responsibility to the young people. And because at the end of the day, they are the future, they are the leaders. And I think both the panelists and the audience members are agreeing that they are the future leaders. And so that's why we need climate change to be taught to our young people. So thank you very much for the first question. Now, on that note, we will now turn to the second key question of the program. But before that, I would like to quickly remind our participants to send in your questions by writing in the comment box of our Facebook live stream, and we will address them as much as we can at the Q&A portion at the end of the session. Now, I'd like to invite everyone again to grab your smartphones and participate in our interactive poll. Kindly scan the QR code displayed on your screen and answer the second question. Now, I will launch the second question. There you go. The second question is, how can knowledge of climate change be translated into action for climate change? So we'll give everybody about a minute or two to participate and answer, and then I'll turn to the panel members after. So we can maybe wait for about 2 minutes and wait for the audience answers.
Yes. Okay, this question I have some presentation. Yes. Okay, we had a presentation. Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. For me, we are the Eco School. So the Eco School is designed.
Sorry.
So?
Mr. Buntawi, sorry, let's wait for the answers from the audience members first, and then we'll turn to the panel members.
Okay.
I'll give you a cue when we turn to the panel members. Okay, I think it's now populating. Some people are answering already. Encourage households, hands-on experience, demonstration to young people, real problem solving. Let's just wait maybe for another 30 more seconds. Okay. Skilled teachers, community-based learning, stories, hands-on experience. Okay. Thank you. And I think people are still answering the questions, but we'll now move along. I'll start this time with Kitsia. Kitsia, for the second question, as someone who has given training and had several dialogues with young people from different communities in Mexico, how do you think knowledge of climate change can be translated into action for climate change?
Thank you, Jerome. I think that one of the most important parts is to have these safe spaces and to have these platforms for people to engage. It is really encouraging when you go to some new space and when you can have like this knowledge and can have like all these interactions with other people and finding out that there's more young people and who is doing whatever you want to do and who's also participating and it's equally eager at you to understand, to learn. So these spaces, like it's a place that, for instance, civil society can encourage a lot, allow not only for people to engage with their peers, but it's also a way that you can attract some people to give like some webinars, some workshops, or like some kind of materials where they can learn. Because I think that informal education is one of the main tools that it can be used for the how part. It is really important to have also like this information in the syllabus of the schools, but I know that in developing countries, like for instance in Mexico, it can take several years to like put all this information into the syllabus, and this can be discouraging for young people who wants to learn. So there has to be these new spaces that can be within the schools but after hours, or that can be like from civil society or some other organizations that can help them to get a better grasp of this information. Something that is really interesting about climate change, that it's maybe the topic itself is not difficult, but it is very complex. And complexity, we are not good as humans, we're not good as, with complex information, because we tend to simplify a lot and we tend to polarize a lot, because that way maybe the critical thinking is not that developed. And when you are having young generations learning how to engage and learning how the world works, can be really difficult for them to grasp all this complex knowledge. So I think that by having these spaces when they can interact with other people, and also when they can have examples or maybe like some work trips or something related that can be experienced, then it's better for them and it's easier for them to actually understand the implications of climate change and actually understand why it's important that they take it into account, whatever their own interests are. Which is also, I think, that one part that it's really really positive of climate change is that you can link it with so many areas of education, that it doesn't have to be only in environment education, but also you can link it with some other projects like arts, like chemistry, like geography. So it's really interesting that they can see it from different layers and different axes, so they can start making these connections all together and help them also to start like getting a better grasp of what they can do and what's their role in it.
Thank you, Kitsia. I'm really hearing your insight on providing a space where everybody could interact. Everybody from different backgrounds can interact, not just scientists but also people coming from different backgrounds, being able to break down and simplify the complex idea of climate change into something that is more digestible information to regular people. I think that's a very important point that you raised there. Thank you very much, Kitia. We now turn to Lee. There are studies that have shown that it's very important for young people to recognize their capacities and responsibility to be committed in climate action. But based on your experience as school principal, your long experience, how do you think knowledge of climate change can be translated into action for climate change? Ken?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jerome. Well, translating knowledge into action for climate change involves individual and collective efforts. In my school, we organize green program which is called Go Green Carnival. So the purpose of organizing this carnival is to involve all the school communities, such as our students, teachers, non-teaching staff, school stakeholders, and not forgetting our students' parents, to join in all the various environmental activities and programs related to climate change issues. So from these activities being implemented, they will be taught about the importance of preservation and conservation of the environment to encourage their pro-environmental behavior. Most importantly, I want to emphasize that this Go Green Carnival activity is not just a one-off event. It has to be held every year, have to be continuous activity every year. Then you can see the knowledge of sustainability, such as climate change knowledge, can be translated into action. Our secondary school students are from grade 7 to grade 11. So they have 5 years actually to be staying in the school. And this is actually the golden opportunity for us to educate the students every year, repeatedly, so that the teachers and the students are being impacted the proper climate change knowledge, skills, attitudes, behavior, and the values. I'm sure it will build up a very solid foundation about the understandings of the climate change challenges and understand the causes and also the effect of the climate change to their life among our students and the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I like what you mentioned about, I think you introduced one program at SM St. Patrick, which is the Green Carnival, among the many other initiatives that SM St. Patrick does. You mentioned about how everybody is involved, not just the students or the teachers, but also the non-teachers in the school and other stakeholders, and how these activities are implemented at a regular basis. And so everybody really get to experience this this education on climate change and the environment at a regular basis. And so it really gets instilled in their brains and hopefully becomes not just knowledge transforms into behavior continuously. So thank you very much, Ken, for that. And we'll now turn to Bontawi. If you could brief us about how Ban Wahim Demonstration School make it to a point where knowledge of climate change is not static, but eventually transforms into into action for climate change. So, Buntawi, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, how can we transform the knowledge to the climate change action for our students? I want to show you this is the processing of the environmental education by the presentation. We use the Eco School project. The Eco School project is designed to raise our students to awareness of the climate change issue. So this is the processing that, so we have the 4 step for our student to assessment for about the climate change action. And the first step is a climate empathy. It means that uh, this is occur in everyone. And the first step of climate empathy is means that the student, they do not care or they don't know about the danger of the climate change, and they don't intend for the climate change. They don't want to do something for the climate. So this is the first step, that how can we do for this step to be the green intent for the next step. And we use the whole school approach. The whole school approach is good. The tool for put our student to do the good student. The whole school approach, we have 4 mission for the whole school approach. Okay. Okay. And the first mission is about environmental education policy, and the second, organizing learning process, and the third is managing natural resources, and the last one, environmental education network. This is a whole school approach that we use in our school to translate the knowledge, the climate action to be the climate action, and after that, if the student, they have the 4 mission to do this, they will go up to the next step to be the green intent. The green intent means that they understand and they would like to do something for the climate action. So, and this step, we use the 7th step. What is the 7th step? The 7th step is the education for using in environmental education subject in my school. At the first step, all the students explore and find and learning the issue about environmental problem in their community. And after that, they find the knowledge base, what and how they can help to solve the problem in their community. And the next is relationship analysis. After that, they find the situation or the problem in their community and planning to help their community and take action. And the last one is exchange the knowledge. This is the 7th step for us. So, and if they learned about the 7th step, they go out to be the community hero. Why we say the community hero? Because that the 7th step or the Eco School project, we use the community-based learning to do for our students. They go outside the school to find and to talk with the people who live in the community around the school or the community and their live. So they help their community to solve to solve environmental problem in their community. And after that, at the last step is the sustainability. It means that they will be the eco-responsible citizen in the future. And this is the processing of the environmental education. So I would like to talk about the organizing of the learning process in the mission 2. It's a mission 2, it is very important for the green intent for the step 2. Because in mission 2 that we design our curriculum to be the 6 unit in the first semester. In the first semester, they learned all about the environment, and they learn about all the 7 steps. For the next, in the second semester, they go outside the school in their community to find the problem about the environment in their community to solve this. This is the way to translate the knowledge climate exchange to be the climate action.
Thank you very much, Buntawi. I don't think I don't think we have time to go over each one that you explained, but I think you explained them in great detail. I think everybody is now familiar with the whole school approach that the Ban Wahin Demonstration School is implementing, and the way and the different steps in how your school is shaping eco-responsible citizens among your students. So thank you very much. I'll now move on to the third question. But first, let me share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Can I get a confirmation from
Can see.
Mr. Great, thank you very much. I'll now switch to our third question. Again, I would like to quickly remind our participants to send in your questions by writing in the comment box of our Facebook live stream, and we will address them as much as we can at the Q&A session. Before we move on to our panel members, I would like to invite our audience members for the last time to grab your phones, scan the QR code that you see on the screen, and let us hear your thoughts on the third question, which is, what components of climate change education in various learning environments help in empowering youths to address the climate change? So we can wait for a few minutes, for a minute or two, for everyone to type in their responses. All right, let's just wait for a little bit. I'm also going to participate.
Maybe sometimes I didn't listen not clear here.
Mm.
Yeah, for it doesn't clear for the voice.
Okay, I think it's starting to come up. Community programs. How about the others? Collaboration. Place-based learning, connecting with nature, action-oriented learning. Anything else? I think we can give maybe 30 more seconds. Peer learning. Okay. I think we can leave it this for now, and we're now gonna turn to Ken. Could you tell us more about the activities and the different trainings and infrastructure to support climate change education at SM St. Patrick?
Okay. When we are talking about the components of the climate change educations, in my opinion, we should encourage the development of sustainable habits among the young generation. It will enhance the concept of sustainability when they grow up to be the decision makers. Now, let me share some programs being held in my school. Yeah, Mr. Jerome, can you let me share my screen?
Sure, I'll stop sharing my screen for now.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, can see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me share about the 7 Greens program. Just now, actually, Mr. Jerome mentioned about the 5 Greens program. Now we have another 7 Greens program, which is to deal with the waste management. So in our school, we have this 7 Greens program. Is a path to sustainability. The first one is green corridor. We have a green corridor with 110 meters long, which is a school walkway with all these waste management knowledge for our students to learn. In the second one, second greens is a green sustainable corner, which is actually our classroom. our classroom, we had created a green sustainable corner for our students and our teachers. And the third green is green games. So we created the green games by using the paper waste. So we are actually practicing the paper waste management. And fourth greens is about the green recycling products, which is practicing the plastic waste management. So we have many activities related to these recycling products. And the fifth one is a green technology exhibition. So our students will have a competition to create various green products, and then they will come to display all the products during the green technology exhibitions. And number 6 is green compost making. So our school students also practicing the food waste management. They get the food waste from the canteen, the school canteen, and then they will make the compost. And the last one is green reuse. So in our school, we are practicing of this concept of reuse. We try to reuse the plastic waste so that we can reduce the plastic bottle using. Okay, the second one is so this is our school green corridor actually. So we have these six slogans: go green, live green, love green, think green, and be green. And this is the main entrance of our school green corridor, as you can see, with 110 meters long. And the next one is our sustainable corner in our classroom. This is some of the examples of this sustainable corner created by our students and together with the teachers. And the next one is the green technology exhibition being held every year. Every year we have this green technology exhibition for grade 7 student until grade 11 students. So they come out with these all types of these green products by using the plastic bottle and etc. Okay, so actually we are practicing what we call the real world connections. We are connecting the classroom learning to the real world examples and try to help the student to see the relevance of this climate change in their lives. Next one is solution-oriented learning. So we want to empower our youth with the knowledge of sustainable practices and solutions, encourage them to think critically about addressing the climate change challenges. And the last one is a hands-on experience. We want to provide our students with the practical experience like what our audience sharing just now, hands-on experience such as hands-on project, field trip for our students to be involved. So the purpose is to reinforce the theoretical knowledge and inspire a deeper connection to environmental issues. So the next one is for our school is to improve the school and learning environment. In our school, actually, we have all together, showing here is 24 student learning station in our school. But now actually we have over 30. We have over 30 student learning station in our school. Let me share with you some of the learning station. This is one of the learning station, Eco Park. Okay. The next one will be Green Pond with 4 learning stations here. The first one is Orangutan Learning Station. Second one, Pitcher Plant Learning Station, Sea Turtle Learning Station, and also Rafflesia Learning Station, which is the biggest power in the world. And the last one that I'm going to share with you, the last learning station is our green park. So we can see, so the student will get to learn about the climate change knowledge from all these learning stations. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. I like the fact that the approach from SM St. Patrick is very comprehensive and very holistic. You don't just have lessons about reuse and recycling. You also have activities, but also you have many different facilities that facilitate and encourage this green learning among the students. Thank you for the photos. I think we get a good visual of how it looks like at SM St. Patrick, the walkway, the classrooms, the green sustainable corners in each classroom. I think that's a very wonderful initiative, and also the different learning stations. So thank you very much, Ken, for sharing your projects with us. Moving along, we'll now move on to Buntawi. If you could enlighten us in detail about I'm sure you have a plethora of programs related to climate change and environmental education implemented at Wahin Demonstration School. For the floor is yours, Buntawi.
Yes, thank you very much. So the component of the climate change education in various learning environment help empowering youth and adjust to the climate crisis. So that we said to you that we are the eco school. So the eco school project is designed to raise the student to awareness of the climate change issue. So in my school we have the educational curriculum core to the student, and so we separate the education, the curriculum to be the 6 unit. So the 6 unit means that to help the student to to make and to empower our student to address the climate crisis. And I want to talk to you about the unit that we to take the student. Our students at all levels take 40 hours of environmental education per academic year. But what do they learn? At the first unit, the student gain knowledge of the term used in environmental awareness. And the second, they learn about the natural resource conservation. And the third unit, they learn about the mangrove forest. Why we learn the mangrove forest? So we think about the blue economy too. It's not green economy only, and the blue economy it is very important to the young generation right now too. And the unit for the student investigate environmental destruction and the natural phenomena. So it is very important for the young generation right now. And the fifth unit, educating the world on environmental issue. And the last one, they learn about all the 7 steps for solving environmental problem in their community. And these 6 units are taught in the first semester and make them to be the citizen for environment in the future. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Buntawi. Thank you for explaining the environmental education at Ban Wahin Demonstration School. Just repeating what you mentioned, there are 6 units that the students had to take, comprising about 40 hours of environmental education. If I remember correctly, you also implemented this during the pandemic, and I think it was a wonderful implementation on your part. So thank you very much, Buntawi. We'll now move along to our third speaker, Kitia. Your thoughts on the third question: what components of climate change education in various learning environments help in empowering youths to address the climate crisis? Kitia?
Thank you, Jerome. I think that two of the main elements that I was going to mention are the ones that my other two mates have already mentioned, and I'm really happy that they did it because it's really important. I will say that interdisciplinarity, like the way that they have been letting us know how they are doing it in the school, it talks about how interdisciplinarity is playing a big role, because then they're not engaging only on a subject and learning this like in a technical matter, but they're actually doing something with it, and I think this is really important. The other part, it's critical thinking and problem solving, which also they have mentioned how much it is important for them to start like analyzing the information, analyzing the problems, and coming up with some creative innovations and some creative ideas to tackle it, even when it's just a project or even when it's just like a small idea. This is really important so they can start like playing a role, and they can start learning that they have a voice and they have ideas that are important and can be recognized for that. And the third, and the one that I want to focus the most is in empathy, which is something learning and having like this emotional intelligence aspects also. It's really important for this fight, for the climate crisis fight. I think that there is a lot of course, of components that it has to be addressed in a technical matter, and it has to be addressed from knowledge. But if we don't have the empathy enough, and we don't have the same level of emotional intelligence that we need in order to encompass and to have like these elements and actually make them ours and have these elements as a passionate topic for us, that it's more like a personal compromise and not only a subject in the school, I think that will help us. Something that I can see, and I talk about this element, it's because it's very common that we see, for instance, in this kind of events at COP, that the information is there. There are like several reports. There is so much information that it's been made. You can go to so many conferences, but if you don't have this element of compassion in you, then all this information won't be nothing but more like intellectual and just like facts remarks. So we need that also having that emotional intelligence in order to take all this information and make it into action. And the only way to do that, if we commit and if we take this information as something that it's personal. Sorry, there is a lot of noise, but I hope that it's clear enough. And I think that that will be another part. And also one thing that, for instance, I have seen that it's been like gaining some track, not only at COP, but like in general, when we're talking about young people, it's the aspect of mental health. Like eco-anxiety, it's being recognized more and more, and it's actually, it had one day of recognition here at COP, and it's really important that when we are teaching the youth about these topics, we also give them these tools, emotional tools, for them to face these kind of challenges. Otherwise, all this complexity and all of this information can be overwhelming, and instead of encouraging to do something, can give them like a really pessimist way to see the world, which is something that we don't want. We want them to see how they can do something about it. So I think that having this component of mental health is actually really important, so they can actually feel like they have a place, they have somewhere to talk to, and they can empathize with the rest of the people, and that this fight is not only a fight that they're doing by themselves, but it's something that is happening in all the world. And if we grown-ups cannot get to a solution, we cannot expect them to solve everything. So they can also have like this hope in them, and not like a sense of overwhelming or of impending doom to say it. And I think that that's why it's really important to also encompass this information on the education plan.
Thank you, Kitia. I think we cannot highlight enough the importance of combining teaching cognitive knowledge and also social emotional skills to the young people regarding climate change, and how these knowledge can be translated into action through that holistic approach. I think what you mentioned about empathy and other and emotional intelligence and other social emotional skills are also as important to teach to the young people, especially the fact that climate change doesn't only have physical manifestations, but also have mental and emotional implications to everyone who's affected. So thank you for emphasizing that in our session today. And so That brings us to the end of our three key questions. Thank you, panelists, for your contributions to this conversation. We will now move right along with the Q&A portion of the program, and we can kick this off with the audience members attending in person. And from this point, I would like to request assistance from either Dr. Park or from Kun Koch to help me in picking the audience members. If they have any questions, we would love to hear them. And if you could address this to the panelists, that would be great as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. We just talked about the importance of climate change education and why, how, and what components. So if you have any questions from the floor to the panelists or the moderator or the panelists online, please feel free to ask questions. This is the time. By the way, I'm from the same team of Jerome. All of a sudden, who is this lady? You would probably thought about that, but then I'm from the same team, from Jerome, who's the moderator from UNUIS. Anyone who would like to ask questions to the panelists?
Dr. Park, if for now there are no questions from the in-person attendees,
there's one
maybe
question
we can start
here.
with some of the online questions.
Sorry, there is one question here.
Sure.
Thank you very much. My question is maybe simple. How can we encourage the newcomers to be like you? I mean, to engage in society to promote climate change, because this is a good example, but there are the others as well. How can we encourage them to be like your role model? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question. Jerome, did you hear that? Mr. Lee, did you hear that?
How to encourage the newcomers in learning climate change education. Is that right?
Yeah, right. So Ajahn here has an answer.
Yes. For me, I am in the school section, so to encourage the student or the youth in the new generation to the climate exchange, I think that the curriculum is very important for our school, because the new generation, right now is technology disruption, and so the curriculum is make them to know and to they can learn from the curriculum, and then we can design the curriculum to be the active learning. And I think that it not only the teacher, so the student and the people in community together to do and decide to decide to learn about the climate change. I think this to be the way to encourage them. Yes.
Thank you. If I can add to that, I think that exposing people to not only to the information but also to activities related with it, it's really important. Like I've seen a really increasing number, for instance, of art expositions or art exhibitions that talk about climate change or environment detrimental in some kind of like it can be like painting, it can be, there's many songs that talk about it, and I think that it's easier if you're experiencing it and if you have like some kind of exposure to those topics, maybe in not such a, I mean, if you have it actually in both sides, in school when you have like the basis and the concepts, and then you also have like an experience that helps you to relate on another level, it's like the what we could aspire to, because then you can actually connect that with an emotion and you can actually be motivated to start like doing more about it. So I think that that's why interdisciplinarity plays a huge role there. So you can also see it from many ways, because maybe for me it's not interesting chemistry, maybe for me biology. So if you tell me that it will affect the coral reefs, maybe it will make me feel something and move me to do something about it. But if you tell me that it's something that is happening in the atmosphere with the atoms, maybe it won't. So I think it's important to link it to something that is of interest for each peer.
Yes, Ms. Pavini.
Hello. Hi, so I also work on some educational initiatives, and a question I had is, you know, of course, educational can be really impactful, but it's really hard to assess that, right? So do you have any ideas on how we can best assess the impact of education that you're delivering in the schools and communities?
Access, right?
If either
Okay,
Ken
so
or
for the
Buntui
access
maybe jump
environmental
in,
education,
answer
the
the
student.
question.
So we use the assessment from the stair that we have the model for the assessment of the student. And so at the first we have the to check and to interview of the student that how do they know about the climate change first? So maybe that we have the questionnaire to them, and we ask them that okay, everything about the climate change effects, and after that we put them all the curriculum, our curriculum, and after that we post them again by the interview for them too. Yes. I think the interview is better for the test because when they ask them, so I can I can talk to them and many things more than the test by the paper. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Maybe, thank you. Mr. Lee from the school sector probably can have a say about this assessment, please. How do you assess the students' performance in climate change education? That was the question, Mr. Lee.
Is it
And
my turn?
do you want to? Yes. Just to reiterate the question, in your school at SM St. Patrick, what is your way to assess the impact of climate change education and different activities that students participate in?
Okay. We know that to translate the knowledge into action for the climate change in the school is actually very challenging. And why I say like this? Because every year the school will receive newcomers. So this year's grade 7 student will come up to grade 8, and then the newcomer will come from other primary school, will come to secondary school to study in grade 7. So in our school, we have to start again, to instill our students with a mindset that they will love the environment. So that's why every year, that's why I emphasize when we want to organize bring programs, this is not just the one-off event. We have to do it every year, for our students. And I think one of the unique program in our school is that we can have a school eco tour. Why? Because like what I mentioned just now, our school has now 30 over student learning stations. So the visitors will go to visit our schools, like our parents, ex-students, alumni, and local communities. They will come to our school. And the uniqueness here is that our students, they'll be the school environmental ambassador, not the teachers, not the principal, but the student will bring all the visitors to visit all the student learning center, this station, and then explain to them what's happening, to what is the consequences of the climate change to our visitors. So indirectly, our students also being trained to be the very good environmental ambassador. And when they grown up, they have their awareness about the environmental issues. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So Jerome, Do you want to take more
I
questions?
want to turn into maybe one question from the online audience. It is imperative the question is, it is imperative to empower the teachers as well in addressing the complex climate issues. Could you share your thoughts or strategy in motivating the teachers and also improving, enhancing the skills of the teachers in teaching climate change education to students? So anyone from our panel members can jump in to answer this question.
How
Hello. Well, I'm not an educator myself, but like I can say that there are like so many materials that now are open for teachers that they can learn. But I know that they already have like this huge burden of huge, not burden, but like huge load that they have to do, and they want to put everything into the teacher to learn so the students can learn everything. So I know that it can be challenging. I know that it can be hard, especially when like there's like a continuous update of the curriculum and the syllabus, so they have to be like updating all the time. But even with that, I think that they can rely in this information that it's online. They can also, this is the part when maybe sometimes like civil society can help out. They can invite maybe for some class or like for some workshop, some other people, so they can learn how they are teaching the children. Maybe they can replicate it later, but also helps them to have like someone else coming to the school, and it's always kind of refreshing to see like new face to help them out and make it plan an activity or do something with the kids. I think this will be something that teachers will also be like benefiting from, because they can see other ways that they can be teaching. Sometimes they have, of course, like certain guidelines, and when you having like so many kids, I can guess that it's challenging to have like always control and always have like all the concepts up to mind. So this could be maybe a solution that could help them to also encourage them to do something. And sometimes like these groups of civil society or like government, they can also bring like some initiatives into the classroom that can be interesting for them in case that some young member can engage later. And it's also encouraging for them to see that they can act and they can engage in these local activities.
Mr. Lee?
Buntawi or Ken, if you have any thoughts on enhancing teacher skills in climate change education.
Okay. In my school, before we start our green program, such as the Go Green Carnivals, we will have a training session and for our students and also for our teachers. We brief them about how to run this green program, because we have various environmental programs and activities in our school. So how to do that so that it will become effective programs or activities for our students and our teachers and also our local community as well. And then after that, after the training sessions, we will have a briefing just before we start our Go Green Carnivals. We will have short briefing for our teachers and students in the school hall, so that everybody will know what to do on that day, because all school communities, including the school cleaners, school security guards, and also the canteen workers, they will work together with the students and the teachers. So on that day, they know what to do. So that's why we have this briefing for our students and the teachers. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And Buntawi, if you have any thoughts on this question.
There's some questions from them, yes.
Maybe
Did the same answer, so no idea right now, yes.
maybe in your eco school, how to motivate the teachers, that might be a good addition here.
So we have the annual year so to motivate our teacher to become the trainer about the climate exchange every year. So that we had, the project is a big project like the climate exchange fair, so to motivate them too. Yes.
Yes, great example. Jerome, maybe we can move on to the online comments.
Yes, I think we can just have one final question to everybody. How important is the role of young people in initiating intergenerational discussion about climate change between them and their parents and maybe the older generation? How do you think, what do you think is the role of young people in having this discussion, intergenerational discussion? I think it's a very interesting topic. Anybody?
Yes. It is really important. This is the young generation is the youth is powerful for to solve the problem about the environmental problem in the future. So I think that we have to encourage our the youth or the young generation to know about the climate change more, and maybe that so it have many activity for them inside the school or outside the school, and together with the community, and to let them know about that. Yes.
Thank you, Buntawi. How about Ken? Do you ever hear students maybe telling you that, oh, I've had this discussion with my parents after learning this concept about climate change or the environment from the school? And what do you think about that?
Okay, in my school, actually, we give chance for our students to have their own presentation. Like recently, our students presented their PowerPoints about the environmental issue in this Tsukuba International Conference in Tokyo. So actually, we provide a platform, a good platform for our students to present what they had learned in school as a hands-on experience for them. I'm sure they are our future leaders. I'm sure they will make a wise decisions on any environmental issue, so that they can have a sustainable future in their life from our students. So we have to think that our student is actually a very important asset for us in the school. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And I think we can end this with Kitia's response. What do you think about intergenerational discussion about climate change? I think you're coming from a very interesting point of view where discussions, I think, well, everybody, but you particularly, the discussions are not just limited with offline, real life conversation, but having online discussions with different people, the older people as well. So if you have any thoughts on this, Kitia, please share it with us.
Thank you. I think that we have to recognize the role of young people, and of course, we're not going to be asking of young people that they are doing, for instance, the decision making, or they are like taking these reports, for instance. Of course, it's not something that we can ask for them, but we have to recognize, and we have to stop seeing young people as just someone who is going to do something in the future, but someone who can do and is doing something now. Let's just look around and see how many people has been inspired by young activists like Greta Thunberg, like Francisco from Colombia. Like there are like so many young activists that has been doing a certain awareness, and we cannot, of course, we cannot put the same load into into them, because they are just young people, but still they have so much things to do now, and we have to keep giving them a space. I think think that this COP in particular has been really important for that. They have like these events, and they have like these hubs for innovation and for young people. Like if you have the time, please go to Building 90, where there is like a lot of young people there, and they are already doing so much. They have initiatives. They have like these convocatories when they sometimes grant like some awards for innovation to some other young colleagues. And I think that, again, we have to stop seeing them just as a passing, as someone who is doing something someday, but like now it's someone who doesn't have a voice or who doesn't have like desires and needs, but they are someone who right now they are making the world look around and see what we're doing. So the intergenerational talk that we have to have with them, it's not about only us teaching them, but also they teaching us, because they have, I mean, it's just like in their nature when we are young to be a little more rebellious, to ask why things are happening and are being done the way that they are being done right now, why the system works that way. And I think that we can take so much hope and so much like alive feeling from them also, because by questioning and doing like these basic questions, why this works this way, we can start questioning why have been allowing to go the same way all the time, and why the system works that way that we are doing it, and how can we change it, how can we improve that, not only on everyday life, but also like how can, when I have the position, when I can work, how can I do things differently. So I think that it's not only about giving them voice, it's not only about like recognizing their ideas, but it's also about like seeing how they are already shaping the different narrative that we have now of climate justice, and how they are talking about more about inclusion, how they're talking about a rapid transformation, and how that requires everybody to be on board, not only the older generations, but them also.
Thank you, Kitsia. And thank you to our all panel members. I think we've covered various dimensions of climate change education, and there's a lot of information to unpack, and perhaps that we can go on for another hour or two, but sadly, this is the only time that we have for today. And now we're coming to the end of the program. But just before I wrap up, I would like to remind everyone that today's session will be published as a video recording, which will be made available on the Thai government's Department of Climate Change and Environment's Facebook page. And also for other events related to COP and to the field of sustainability, I also invite everyone to visit the UNU-IAS website at unu.edu/IAS. And with that, I will end today's session. Thank you very much to the government of Thailand and to Dr. Chongrak Tinagul for allowing us to be part of the Thai Pavilion at this COP. I would like to thank the Thai Pavilion team, Kun Koch and Kun Tong, for the assistance to our team throughout this COP28. And of course, to our team, Dr. Jongwi Park and the UNUIAS COP28 delegates. Thank you very much for the support. So all the way from Tokyo, Japan, I am Jerome from the United Nations University. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again in our next side event at COP next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Thank you very much, Kun Lee, for your